Hi, guys, and welcome to the Horror Room. So, this week I thought I'd share a bit of nostalgia with you um, from a personal experience, but um, I just, kind of over the last couple of years, I haven't gotten to go to any big horror conventions, and I really miss it. Because if you could believe it or not, for the longest time, I hadn't been to any horror conventions. Because it wasn't until roughly no, actually, it was a little bit longer than that. Maybe 10, 11 years ago, I started getting serious into collecting horror. That's right around the time, like I said, I had a friend that gave me pretty much all this. I mean, I was big into horror, but this guy gave me so many good things that were, out of print, foreign, lots of movies that I'd been wanting to own and just didn't have the means to get them myself. So he really gave me a huge step up. And I know a lot of people don't have that opportunity, so I'm definitely thankful for that. But it wasn't around till this time that I started saying, you know what, I have never been to a horror convention, and I think that would be a lot of fun. Now, going to a horror convention isn't as expensive as like going to like Comic Con or Disney World or something like that. But I mean, it can be pretty expensive for the big horror fans because you got celebrity meetings and signings, you got vendors, you got lots of different activities. Like if you're going for the whole weekend and you get like a VIP pass, you get in early and stuff like that. Any times I've gone though, it's usually just been for one day. Uh, Mostly, I think I've went on Saturday or Sunday. Usually Sunday seems to be the best day because a lot of these people, unless they're like a big vendor, they just want to get this stuff sold. So some of them might be willing to work with you a little bit, but I wouldn't expect it, too much. But um, so I just wanted to talk about my experiences with going to horror conventions, specifically HorrorHound. That's the one I've been to the most. I have been to Days of the Dead. It was a smaller convention, at least where I'm located, and it was fine. I got some signatures and stuff, um, but there's not enough there to talk about. It was a pretty quick experience, but Horror Hound was always that big one. And the first year I went, I was hooked, and I was like, I got to come back again. And I did come back. I think, I think only once more, maybe twice. I might be just getting mixed up, but I at least two times for sure. Um, and I just want to talk about some of the experiences that I had and some of the cool stuff that I've gotten at some of the different conventions. I'm not going to show everything I've gotten because, you know, it's silly. Um, but yeah, so when I went to Horror Hound for the first time, basically this is how I approached it. I know a lot of people. If you're going for the whole weekend, you have plenty of time. And some people will like wait in lines for like Robert England's signature, and you can wait in that line for hours and spend a ton of money. But I was on a limited budget, which usually that's one thing I will say. If you're going to plan on going to a horror convention, you better plan ahead. And even with the preparation that I took, I still was like, oh my god. So the next year I brought more money, and I still was like, oh my god. So don't go crazy unless you can afford it. But you definitely, if you don't bring enough, you're gonna regret it because you're gonna see something that you're like, ah, oh, it's just out of reach. Um, but I will say, the first year I went, I had fun even though I didn't spend a lot. And I mean, that's not what it's really about. You can go there and just get a couple trinkets and some memorabilia and be fine. You don't have to meet and greet with anybody unless you're dead set on getting signatures and photos. Um, but like what I said, uh, when I got in there, my first thing was, okay, I want to get the signatures done. I want to be right there in the line. And the first time I went, one of the first people I went and got a signature from was Kane Hodder because I was so excited to meet the guy that played Jason in, Seven, Manhattan, Hell, and Jason X. So I got to meet him, and then I went straight from him to Tom Savini and met Tom Savini, and that was a great, great opportunity. And then I knew Trauma had a booth there, and I heard that Lloyd Kaufman was going to be there signing stuff for free. Like, no disrespect to anybody who charges for photos or signatures, but I just got to give it up to Lloyd Kaufman for doing it for absolutely nothing. And what a fan service that is. Getting to meet one of the creators of the Toxic Avenger. So yeah, so I got all the signatures out of the way. And actually, my first time going to HorrorHound, I was actually picking up something that I had bought. The vendor brought it to the convention, and I was picking it up from him, so I had to take it back to the car, and that was the fourth scale NECA Michael Myers that I have. Because he had it for sale, but he didn't have it in his shop, so he's like, hey, if you're going to be at HorrorHound, so I was like, all right, I'm trusting you, guy. Like, here's my money, give me my receipt. Kept in touch with him, went off without a hitch. I wouldn't recommend doing that, to anyone else, but, I was just like, I gotta get my Michael. So once he was in the car, then you got to look around. Now, usually what I'll do is I kind of circle around, look at all the different booths, get some ideas of like, ooh, I'm going to remember this one has this t-shirt. I might want that. This one has this movie, or they're having a sale. There's lots of mask vendors. My recommendation is try to just look around first. If you see something that you have been looking for and you don't mind carrying it around for a bit, go for it. You might be able to bring like a bag or maybe a small backpack, but usually what I do, just for me personally, I mean, if you're staying at the hotel, it's probably easier. You can just run it to your room. But, going to the parking lot and all that, it can be time consuming, I know. But it beats carrying around a bunch of stuff. But plan ahead, figure out what you're going to buy. That way you're not randomly impulse buying. Plus, it's just fun to look around. Take some pictures with some people dressed up if they want to. Don't obviously take any pictures of any celebrities unless you've paid for them. Don't take pictures of vendors' products if you're not buying it or something. That's just kind of weird. But they have lots of different things that you can do, photo opportunities. I got to see the van from the Black Phone. I got to see the car from Christine. They had part of the shed from Evil Dead 2. That was pretty cool. Or the little shack. So I wanted to talk about, what it's like going through the convention for me. I will say I really do miss it. I missed out on some stuff from the last one. I cannot remember who was there, but I know that I still want to get some more movies signed by Kane Hodder for the Jason films. But anyways, enough about that. I do know that last year I went to the VHS convention, the year prior as well. So that's kind of been my, secondary option to go to the VHS convention. I've been having fun with it, needless to say, and probably spent way less there than I would have at HorrorHound. So it's probably for the best. Other than that, other than me, moping, when I missed the convention, I thought it'd be fun to show off some of the items that I got. And just to give you guys an idea of the stuff you can find at these conventions. First off, like I said, we're mainly covering HorrorHound, so don't apply this to every convention. But HorrorHound has their own specific magazine, and they also have like exclusive ones at the conventions. 2018, this was the exclusive one that they were doing, because the new Halloween movie was on the horizon, the 2018 one, or at least it wasn't out yet. Yeah, so that was before the movie's out. Had a little retrospective thing in there, and they also have back issues, at least at HorrorHound. So if you need like certain numbers, or you just cover grabs you, like of course I had to get the Friday the 13th retrospective. And these are the ones that I would recommend getting if you want to get like a Killer Clowns one, or Creature from the Black Lagoon, or Chucky. They have lots of different retrospectives on certain horror icons, horror series. And they're a lot of fun to look through. Not only do they have information about, the movies, but they show like merchandise and like, see, they got like the laser discs on there. They show like old promotional things like that hanging Jason mask and axe. So pretty fun just to look through that. And they also had a toy guide for looking through different horror toys, like old model kits, McFarlane. I think they had like the old Full Moon Puppet Master figures in there. Just a lot of cool stuff. So I would definitely recommend snag a couple of the magazines. They're usually pretty cheap unless it's like a more popular one or a harder to find one. So yeah, I usually try to snag at least a couple magazines. Um, you can also find comics. That's a little more on the iffy side. I know a lot of those can go for really big prices, like the Halloween comics. I guess it's just a personal preference. Um, Other than that, let's jump into some of the oddities that I found at this place, at the HorrorHound convention. This one was something really cool. I know a lot of people do not like this movie, um, but I was like, I just got to get this because I do have it on Laserdisc. And it's the Freddy's Dead Final Nightmare 3D glasses. Look at that. It's got a coupon for save 30 cents if you get a 6-pack of root beer. The Freddy's Dead special. Play the Freddy's Dead telephone challenge. Oh my gosh. So call this number and, rack the phone bill up like crazy. It says, warning, put these on only when Maggie does and experience the film's final battle in Freddy Vision. It's not at all what happens. There's also ads for Suburban Commando and Kid and Play on the background. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I like that they're not even used. And I mean, if I had a way to display them with my Laserdisc, I've seen people frame Laserdiscs. I might look into that because I don't need to watch it on Laserdisc, but to have it with this would be pretty cool. So there's that. And then let's look at some VHS tapes. Now I'm going to mainly show the ones that I've gotten signed, but I did find this one. I want to say it was the first convention. Maybe it was the second one. And as you know, I'm always looking for horror VHS, but this is when I was not really getting as seriously into it, but I'd never seen this, and I still haven't watched it. I need to. Robert Englund in Phantom of the Opera. So, kind of an interesting take. Probably not, your standard horror movie, but I thought this was interesting enough that I had to grab it. I think it was like $5 or $10. So, anytime you can find a good VCR, yeah, a VC. Well, if you find a VCR for $5-10, buy that. VHS, especially one that's uncommon like that. Go ahead, treat yourself. But let's take a look at the VHSs that I got that were signed. As I mentioned, I met Tom Savini. I don't think I got him to sign anything the first time I met him, other than a photo I bought. Yeah, I don't think I did. But the second time I met him, I had to have him sign Night of the Living Dead, the remake that he directed, because it's really solid. It's probably one of my favorite horror remakes, at least top 5. So yeah, Tom Savini signed that. Then Lloyd Kaufman signed The Toxic Avenger, of course, and I also had a poster at one of them that I got him to sign. But yeah, gotta love that. Especially that it was free. He took pictures. Guy was dressed up as Toxie there. It was pretty fun. When I met Kane Hodder, the first thing I had him sign was my copy of Jason Takes Manhattan. I had to. But I also, I asked him if it'd be okay to get him to sign a little piece of paper. And I told him, because I said, hey, I got this cool Jason Voorhees machete tattoo. I said, and I want to get all the different Jason's signatures tattooed on me. Now, obviously, I haven't done that. I actually have a couple more signatures that I was going to add to it. But it's just kind of not panned out. Plus, I know some of them are going to be impossible to get or harder to get. So I'm pretty happy with just having, Kane Hodder, the main Jason in my eyes. But he also signed, it says, from one Jason to another. It's got a signature right there. I think that's pretty cool. And that's a memory that I have forever from my first horror convention. But yeah, he signed my copy of Jason Takes Manhattan. I got it in this protective sleeve. I usually save these for really important movies or movies that have gotten signed. There's a few that I don't have cases for, but I'm working on looking into getting more. Then we have, from the second time I went to HorrorHound, I met Ken Kersinger. I want to say that's his name. I might be messing that up. But Jason from Freddy vs. Jason. So had to have him sign that. Then I also, at another convention, the Days of the Dead one, I got Warrington Gillette to sign my copy of Friday the 13th Part 2. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, he did like one scene or whatever. That's not the point to me. I just was like, hey, it's fun to meet some of these people. And I do enjoy Part 2. So I do like he signed it very uniquely. He signed it Die Bitches Die. So, hey, I think that's great. So there you have the VHSs that I got signed. The other thing that I tend to go overboard with, and for good reason, is the different booths where they're selling DVDs. Because you can get a lot of great deals. You can get a lot of movies that you really can't find anywhere else, or at least, you don't have to pay shipping. Now, this is a movie that I started finding out about through the conventions, and I bought the first one, enjoyed it, so I was like, I got to get the next few. I think I'm only missing Part 4 now, but they're called 1031. This is Part 2, and they do have different slip covers. So that's one reason I keep it, because it reminds me of like the old Creepshow graphic novels and stuff, or the Eerie. Then you got Part 3. I love the cover for the normal cover, just some kids in costumes trick-or-treating. I haven't watched this one yet, but I have seen Part 2. But I'm missing Part 4. Let me see if I can figure out what company makes this. Grey House Entertainment. I will see. Oh, Scream Team Releasing. Okay. That's probably the one you need to look up. I'll try and remember to put a link down below, but if not, remind me in the comments, and then I can correct that. Anytime, if I say I'm going to leave a link in the description and I don't, call me out on it, put it in the comments. I'll fix it and then let you know. Then we have Vinegar Syndrome's release of The Suckling. This is a very bizarre movie. It's got the alternate cover. You got DVD and Blu-ray in here, so pretty cool. Then this one I had never heard of, and it's a double feature. It's Hard Rock Zombies with a bonus feature, Slaughterhouse. Very, very interesting movies. Although I've only watched Hard Rock Zombies, of course. But I need to check out the other one. The unique thing about this slipcover, which I do like, is it has the artwork for both movies on either side. I will say the Slaughterhouse Rock one is a little lacking, but not these next two. And of course, then I started getting into 4K movies, especially after getting my PS5. But even before I had the PS5, I could just watch the Blu-rays on here. But you have Nightmare. This is a really bizarre, awesome movie, and I really love the slipcover. I probably can't show you the back. It says the most repulsive, offensive, degrading, gory, depraved, and horrifying movie ever made. You could say that about every movie, but every horror slasher. But that artwork on the cover, it's sick. Let me see what this comes with. This comes with the Ultra HD disc, the Blu-ray, and then a third Blu-ray, which has short films. Yeah, it's got some short films on here. Oh, wow. Nice. So yeah, it's got a lot of things to offer on here. It's got this booklet with some scenes of it. Yeah, lots of violent images in there. But yeah, I love that it's a nice 3-disc set. You got, little disc with some alternate stuff, like some little short films. Pretty good. And this is one that I'd been wanting to see for a while. And that's another reason, like, at the conventions, I'll buy movies that I haven't seen or don't own that I want to own. Like this movie in particular, House on the Edge of the Park. This is one of those ones that I remember the VHS cover and wanting the VHS so bad. I still do, but I was like, if I can just get it and watch it, and of course it has the classic VHS cover right there, so I think that's nice. Um, it's got this little original soundtrack booklet thing that you can see. I think it has the soundtrack with it. This is a Severin release. Yeah, the soundtrack comes right there with it. That's great. And then you got the Diodato Holocaust feature-length documentary. So it comes with a documentary on the guy who made Cannibal Holocaust. This was his second film, so he just went from one controversial film to the other. But House on the Edge of the Park, basically think of it like Last House on the Left. Not as rapey, but still kind of. Or assaulty, or whatever the word that YouTube will not get me for. Whatever. It's a movie. They're pretending. But yeah, good movie if you can handle it. And then, of course, like I mentioned, they have masks all over at these conventions, lots of collectibles. Masks are usually going to be a little more high-end depending. But I'm a sucker for those old masks that you used to walk into like a random pop-up Halloween store and you'd see them lining the shelves and up high. And this is one that I remember seeing as a kid, and I always thought it was pretty cool. And that's the Jason X mask. It's all rubber. I love that it's got like the bloodshot eyes. It's so goofy, but I absolutely love it. So I've got it filled, and well, not filled. Like I can still wear it, but I got like stuff in it to keep it in its shape and something to hold it up on the shelf. Because I like to display my masks, and he goes right there next to the Jason Goes to Hell, and then I think that's part 7. Yeah, part 7. I'd love to get more classic Jason masks. They have one from Freddy vs. Jason that I really want to find, and I think they have one from the remake that's kind of goofy. And I would love, love, love a life-size animatronic. If I ever get one, you can say goodbye to that skeleton. He ain't going to be there. It's going to be Jason. But hey, so there you have it. There's a lot of cool things that I've found at conventions. Like I said, I really miss going. Unfortunately, it's not been in the budget for the last few years. Like I said, that's why I've been going to the VHS convention. It is a little cheaper. Plus, I ain't complaining. I've gotten some really cool tapes over the last couple years, but I would like to eventually try and return. Maybe I can, go on more of a budget, but man, I'm telling you, walking in those conventions with barely any money, it's just like, I could just go for some movies, or I can go to get some signatures and be happy with that. I guess I'll just have to see. But so my advice to you is, if you're going to go to the convention, obviously save some money up, figure out what you want to do and when you want to do it. Usually if you go to the site of whatever convention you're doing, they'll have like a schedule for the 3 days that they're going to be in town. Bring some friends. If you got some friends that are into horror, or even if they're not, and they just want to come look around, they might have fun. Just go, hang out, look around, make sure you have some money for lunch afterwards, because, man, you could lose track of time just walking around there. I know I have. But to me, I'm like, I can go hours looking at horror stuff without eating and, be fine. No, that's not for everyone, so... But yeah, so there you have it. I really, really, really wish that I can go to HorrorHound again. We'll have to see if that happens in the future. But yeah, so there's my trip down memory lane. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If not, I'm sorry. I I just thought it'd be a fun idea for a video. But next week, I think we're going to be looking at another collection. Yep. Okay. I'm just trying to remember, keeping track of what I'm doing. Next week, we're actually going to be looking at some of my Puppet Master stuff. So stay tuned for that video. We're not just going to be talking about the movies. We're going to be talking about some collectible stuff, my opinions on certain collectible things involved in that franchise in particular. So yeah, stay tuned for that Puppet Master Collection review coming next week, and I'll see you then.